Hi, this is Pete with IPA Physio, and I'm going to take you through a core warm-up and a daily neuromuscular routine that you can do before training primarily, and if you don't have training on that day, do it anyway. Building core stability so that you have good force transfer through your system is all about consistency, okay? So do this along with me if you can. No sense in just watching it. Here we go. You're going to start on your back, bring your knees up towards your chest, head can be lifted, and you're going to take your hands against your thighs, tuck your chin down, and I want you to push into your knees. You're going to hold this position for about 20 seconds, and you should feel your hip flexors working and your core firing automatically. We call this exercise push. It's just named for what your arms are doing. So chin's tucked, working your neck flexors, pelvis is up off the ground slightly, resisting yourself, hands to knees. Now feel your core firing, keep it firing, but take your hands off of your knees. Okay, now if you need to, head can come down or rest, or not, a hand can support the head, but I want you to take the knees or the heels to the floor, alternating tapping, making sure that the back is staying flat on the ground and equally weighted between both hips. You don't want to get pulled in the direction of the leg that's moving. You want to be totally stable from hips to shoulders on the ground. And a marching motion can challenge the ability to move from the hips while stabilizing with the core, and you can gradually increase that leverage but stay in a range that you can control against. Typically I'll go out to a single leg press, lower down, bring it back up, bring it in, straight leg out, lower down, bring it back in, and I'll do this for about a minute at the level that is appropriate for me, which is that leg press movement, and then hug the knees into the chest, head can come to the ground. All right, lower your feet down, support your head with one hand so that it's barely off the ground and the hand's under it. Tuck the chin and then slide your hand out. Keep that chin tucked, and I want you to hold this position where you're engaging your deep neck flexors in a range where you're not very high flexed up for at least 20 to 30 seconds if you're able. All right, notice it changed my voice here as I'm doing this. Stabilizing in this position, generally watching the clock for about that 20 to 30 second mark, and then relax your head back down. So a little bit of core activation and then working on stabilizing, neck activation. Now go ahead and bridge up, and I want you to maintain that bridge and do some slow walkouts, 2 to 3 on each leg, and then 2 to 3 walk-ins on each leg. Okay, and we're going to do that about 5 times here. Try to alternate which leg leads. Let's do 5 times with each leg leading. So that's 2, leading with the right as I walk out. Hands can be at the sides, stabilizing, or they can be across your chest. Okay, that's 4, leading with the right. Keep those hips high. Keep the glutes engaged, walking out, that's 5, little break coming down. Okay, bridge back up, now we're leading with the left, out 3 times. If that's too hard, just go out 1 or 2 steps, that's fine. Leading with the left, hips stay totally level as you go out and as you come in. Don't let them drop, try to minimize as much shift side to side as possible as you're going out and as you're coming in. So the goal here is stability through the hips as you're working on engaging the hamstrings. One more time. And then coming up and in. Okay, now go onto your side. We're going to go into a side plank here from the elbow. Opposite hand up, chest forward, hips forward. Keep the top knee totally straight, and let's go 10 leg lifts with that top leg. Don't let the knee bend. Don't rotate your hips. Stability through the side of your core as you're moving that leg up and down about 10 times. And then we're going to go onto the opposite side, rolling over, top leg totally straight, lifting 10 times. 5, 6, 7. Now, if this is hard, you can always start from a knee position where you're lifting that top leg here, or just start with a held side plank without adding that top leg lifting, okay? Now onto your stomach. Arms are gonna start out in front of you, and I want you to pull the arms in as you lift your knees and your feet. Arms go long, legs go long, and then really doing like a back crunch, and then into a Superman position. Pulling up and together, trying to lift that chest and lift those legs, and then getting long and reaching out. Lift the chest and the legs, long and reaching out. Up, down, we'll go about 2 more. So I'm shooting in general for about 10 here. That's not a magic number. You don't have to do that many, or you could do more. Now hands under you, toes dug in, and we're gonna go through some push-ups here. Keep your back from sagging, keep your head from sagging, spine in line, and we're gonna hit about 10 push-ups. Slow and controlled, all the way down, all the way up. And if you're counting, it's about 10. Let's keep track of. Okay? Now once you're done with that, let's come into a crawl position, bear crawl position. Hands under shoulders, knees down, toes dug in. You're gonna lift the knees up. I want you to crawl forward about 6 times and then backwards. Okay, keeping the knees low, hovering, and working on stability and staying compact as you go forward and back. Opposite hand and knee moving as you move, moving at the same time like when we walk. Going back to the developmental sequence. Okay? After about 5 of those, I'm gonna have you go onto your back. I'm gonna go from the side here, fingers facing behind, feet hip width apart, and you're gonna do a hip thruster here, driving the hips up and down. You can work here, just getting the back chain, the hamstrings and the glutes working. Focus on the glute drive, where you're using your glutes to drive you up to the ceiling. You could also alternate some hip thrust up, down, shift onto one arm, top the opposite heel, up, down, tap opposite heel. So if you want to mix some of those in, that's a good variation as well to challenge your balance and your upper body stability. Then go back into the bear crawl position, or the crawl position here, and you're gonna work on pivoting and kicking. So you'll pivot as I go towards the left, pivot to the inside of my left leg to kick the right leg out. Inside of right leg to kick the left leg out. And working back and forth, back and forth. Now you're working on core engagement and stability, and working through those adductors a bit, that interchain of the legs, which is so critical for kicking and passing. All right? So side to side, working there. Now, last thing, we're gonna go from the front crawl position to our backs, and then thrust and unload the inside hand. Not the one in the direction that we were moving, but the other one. Rotate the other way, and then throw that hand up. come back, rotate, throw that hand up. It doesn't even need to come down. You can just rotate it up. Go again, down. We'll go one more time each side. Very good. So, going through lots of components there, hitting the front, the inside, outside, the back, trying to activate and warm up every piece of that core, every direction of that core. And again, consistency is key. Get through as much of this as you can, as often as you can, and you'll start noticing results.